right. Hello, everybody. This is Tom Randall again from GoldenCare. I want to welcome you to this webinar today. It's on our Integrity Short-Term Care Initiative program, instrumental with our team here at GoldenCare in helping design this OmniFlex program. So I'm excited to be able to show you a little bit about this OmniFlex short-term care plan today from Manhattan Life. So we think this is going to be a good option for you, as well as all the other products that we have in the short-term care initiative. And that being said, if Dennis jumps on later on, I'll be certainly let him jump in and throw in his 2 cents. But at the end of the day, since he can't watch me over my back, I'm going to start out with where I usually do. Just talking about method to our madness of why we're on these calls and why we're spending the time to do. I think we're doing 48 webinars in the next 35 or 38 business days or something like that, because of the fact that it's so important for our integrity partners out there. We have 12 million clients, where a lot of us in the integrity family are totally geared towards selling med sups or life products or something else, and long-term care and short-term care, et cetera, what we call our extended care options, aren't something that a lot of you agents deal with. It's something you don't deal with on a day-to-day basis. But I do want to let you know that, these trainings that we do on the products, they're kind of there, and you have to understand the products a little bit. But the main thing I want to show you is that it's so important just to start the conversation. And we really have a lot of fun, Dennis and I do, when we get into our sales training, because we're trying to show agents like yourselves, even if you haven't been in a long-term care arena or you're not up to your neck or in the trenches, this is a pretty easy concept to go out there and tell people about. And this happens to be Long-Term Care Awareness Month. When you hear me pause like that, it's because I know I feel a little cough coming, so I'm trying to catch myself if I can. But anyway, when we're looking at Long-Term Care Awareness Month, it's pretty fitting. And it's really, nowadays, you just can't have long-term care on its own. It's got to be including short-term care and home care and some of these other options out there, because of the fact that you just can't fix everything with one type of product anymore. So the nice news for you guys in our Integrity Short-Term Care Initiative is we're telling you don't have to get certified in long-term care. Nowadays, these short-term care plans that we talk about, including OmniFlex and the other comprehensive short-term care plans, are so close to what long-term care can do that they can really help solve the problem for the majority of your clients. And the good news is the underwriting is a lot easier, and you can cover more people, and it's a much simpler concept for you to go out and explain to people how you can help them and their families out and help them prepare themselves not to have a big surprise at the time of care. And the reason that we say not to have a big surprise at the time of care, and whether we say if it happens, at the end of the day, these stats, I've been doing this for over 25 years, and these stats really haven't changed a lot. 70% of the people out there who are 65 plus in America are going to need some type of care at some point, right? And again, this may not be a long-term type care situation, but with short-term care, remember the triggers to these policies are pretty simple. So a lot of people are going to be out there with surgeries, fractures, and little things that long-term care usually wouldn't cover, where these short-term care plans do. So they can really help them in a lot of circumstances. So you can feel really good about putting the coverage in place, knowing that there's a really good potential it'll get used and it'll help that family out. Okay. So at the end of the day, if you look at married couples, obviously the stats go way up. 90% of married couples have at least one of them. But the big key is, and the reason that you guys are on this call today, hopefully, is that 90% of adults have never had a real discussion about long-term care. They've never had anybody really explain it to them. And we talk a lot about this during Long-Term Care Awareness Month, is that we talk about, we always, for 25 years, we've been saying, boy, wait till 2030 comes. We're in trouble in America because the baby boomers are getting older, et cetera. And now we're looking at it going, boy, 2030 is not that long away. It used to seem like a lifetime away 20 years ago. Now it's right around the corner. And we're having, by 2030, remember, all those baby boomers are going to be 65 plus, up to age 84. And they're going to start needing care. And there's going to be a real need for it. So we're going to see a lot of demand for short-term care and extended care products in the future, which is good news for you. And it makes it easier for you to transition, where you don't have to take your blinders off. You can still do what you do a day in and day out, sell Medicare, sell life, whatever you're selling, and just make sure you finish every sale with one or two little sentences to talk about how the need for long-term care is there, or the need for extended care is there. Okay, that's kind of a scary one. Just talking about with COVID, when people got trapped in those nursing homes, That was a scary time for America. So obviously we don't sell nursing home insurance. It's part of our coverage, which is a nice part of it. But reason people buy these policies by and large is try to stay out of that nursing home as long as they can. So we'll talk a lot about that in our sales webinars that we do for you guys in the sales training. The good news for you is we do have great products that are proprietary type integrity products here. And GTL Recovery Cash has the widest scope of all the products out there. You can see on the map. You don't have to memorize it now, but we have access to this on the site as I'll show you. And you can see the GTL Recovery Cash has been around the longest, so it's in more states. OmniFlex is available in 32 states right now, including DC. So you can see that we got a pretty wide expanse. Indiana was just recently approved. So we have a really nice expanse on OmniFlex. Wellaby is just the newcomer. They're only in 10 states right now, but they're obviously filed in many more states. So you'll see with OmniFlex, I think GTL is probably done, of course, but OmniFlex is going to be available in several other states, hopefully, and Wellaby in 2024. Look for more states to come, obviously, from Wellaby as well. So you can see we have a nice broad thing. There are some states out here, obviously the usual suspects, we call them, Washington State, California, Minnesota, Florida, a lot of New England states that they just don't allow a lot of these home health care or the short-term care plans, if you will. So the comprehensive short-term care plans, they think they're protecting their clients. So they don't allow some of those, unfortunately. But we do have, you'll see on the site when I get into that in a few minutes, that we have other home health care only plans out there, and the True Freedom plan is available in all 50 states. So you do have a solution or a way to help protect anybody you're basically sitting in front of, just about. So it's really a nice broad scope of products we have and protection we have for your clients out there, okay? So jumping into Manhattan Life again, these product trainings are a little bit dull once in a while. If you're not familiar with them, it's drinking out of a fire hose the first time around. But at the end of the day, we just want you to feel comfortable knowing that these plans are strong. And OmniFlex, again, I'm a little bit partial to it. Like I said in the intro, this is something that our team here really helped and did a lot of work with the Manhattan folks to help design it. It was literally just about 3 years in the making to get this product out there, because we didn't want just another vanilla plan. We wanted something that really stood out and was something a little bit different that could broaden the scope and really help more people. So I think we accomplished that. So far, we've been exceeding all expectations on our sales in our initial launch, and we're thinking that that's going to continue. So we're excited about that. You can see some testimonials that are on the site, et cetera, that I won't read to you here today. Cost of care. This is something that we have. I'm using the actual deck that Manhattan Life uses for this training. When we do our training for GoldenCare specifically, we use a little bit different of a presentation. But this one just talks a little bit about the cost of care, knowing that it is more expensive than a lot of people realize. But more importantly, and just as importantly maybe, is that we want to make sure we stress when we get into our sales and plan design webinars that we have during this upcoming training sessions that we're doing. We talk a lot about the fact that you don't have to sell Cadillac plans to everybody. We're going to show you that with like OmniFlex, for example, I could show you today how you can design $1 million policy. So you can design this huge, robust plan that's going to cover them better than their wildest dreams, and it's going to be affordable, and it's actually something that we do sell some of. On the flip side, what we want you to know, especially people who aren't concentrating in short-term care, and you don't want to go in and have to sell this more expensive high-ticket item, we're going to show you how you can scale these plans down and make them super affordable. Literally, we can look at them, say, for $100 a month or even $50 a month sometimes, you can get a nice plan that's going to really do some good things for your clients. We're not doing this to be slick salespeople. We're doing this to show you that these products are incredibly flexible. We named it OmniFlex for a reason. These short-term care products are very flexible across the board, and you can tweak them and design them to be very affordable, or to throw a little bit more logs on the fire and make it a more powerful plan if you'd like to do that as well. So lots of flexibility here. You don't have to solve 100% of their problem. They're going to have other income and assets to use, but it's amazing what you can do if you can help them out just a little bit. And again, I always talk about the fact that it's not scare tactics to talk about facts. 3 out of 5 individual bankruptcies in the U.S. today are because of medical expenses. People don't realize that even though most of those people, 78%, have regular medical insurance, But you know what? They just didn't have it to cover all those things they didn't think about, the things that aren't covered, the out of pockets, the deductibles, the travel expenses, the extra care in hotels, the extra need for help around the house, etc. So we do have all these different things that can happen to you when something, God forbid, happens at the time of claim. These plans are indemnity plans that can do wonders for your clients, even if it just covers some of that risk for them. It can keep them out of financial straits as well. Okay. So that being said, I'll get off that soapbox and we're looking back at just basic plan features. One of the nicest things about these policies is, unlike long-term care that usually stop and say, we're not going to write anybody over age 80, et cetera. These go from age 45 to 89 on the OmniFlex plan. So it's pretty broad. Nice to have something to cover those older folks. But more importantly, even if long-term care, we talk a lot about it. If you're not familiar, we helped design that Mutual of Omaha plan, the number one selling plan in the country. And we're proud of that. And we still write a lot of Mutual of Omaha. But once you get over 65, boy, it gets tough, doesn't it? 65 or 70, you're looking at 50% of the people who there's no way you're going to get them through underwriting. So with a plan like this, we always talk about the fact that one of the biggest abilities these plans have is their availability. So when we talk about not only where they're approved in which states, that's important, but also how's the underwriting looking? And that's where you'll see that this is a really nice way to go out and have these plans available because of the way we have the structure set up and the ability to go out there and get more people covered. And I'm going to show you that example in a second when I segue over here. But again, these are a simplified issue because the net is thrown much, 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 much wider than we have with long-term care. And as usual with long-term care or any insurance type products, you have a 30-day free look. And with this plan, we'll talk about the prescription drug benefit, which is really just a net premium reducer right out of the gates. It's the only plan that has that in the short-term care comprehensive market. And of course, these are guaranteed renewable, meaning as long as you pay your premiums, there theoretically could have a rate increase if they file for all the policies in that state. So far, short-term care has never had that problem, and it's a really designed benefit plan, so it's probably not going to be a big issue in the future. But again, they can't raise the rates just based on any individual's health. So it's really safe for your clients out there in the industry. And it's certainly not going to be like the long-term care where we saw some runaway rate increases. Okay, I'm going to go through this slide, and then I'm going to switch over and show you something different that's related to what we talked about of throwing the net wide. But the first thing that we do have is a one-time application fee for mom and dad. So it's $25 a piece if mom and dad apply on the same application. It is just a one-time fee. It is commissionable. So that's not ongoing annual like some of the home care products have, et cetera. The rates out there are very simple to get, and we'll show you how to get a hold of the different rate things today. And then the spousal discounts, one of the nice things we like about this policy is we work with a lot of married folks, and there's a lot of people that you're talking to in your med sup or your life arena that they're married, and you can offer a nice 10% discount to each of them if they both qualify to get the coverage, which again is much easier to do than what you might expect. So I'm going to buzz over here really quick and show you a couple things that we have on this site. This is our Integrity short-term care site. And when we talk about the biggest availability or biggest ability of these plans, sometimes their availability, we already talked about where this product's available, but I want to get into the underwriting just for a couple minutes. And if you go to this site, which most of you are familiar with now, hopefully, if you're on this call for more than the first time, there's Integrity short-term care. Your marketer that got you on this call will probably give you a link to this if they haven't already. And you can go down here in the sales and marketing area, and you're going to see a lot of different things you can use to help you out in the field and help you with consumer stuff, et cetera. And this Instant Pivot tool is what I'm going to talk about just for a second. But down below here, you can see, since I'm at the site, I'm going to save time and just go into this now, that here's all of our products in our short-term care, right? We have the OmniFlex, the Recover Cash, the Wellaby. And then in our home healthcare only plans, we have Manhattan, GTL, and we have a True Freedom non-insurance plan as well. Okay, so before I get into the InstaPivot that's going to show you how to go get this, I'm going to go over and just show you for a second how these plans work and why we set this up the way we did, okay? So this is our regular GoldenCare presentation that we give when we talk about the power of two-tiered underwriting, because OmniFlex, like Wellaby, is a unique two-tiered underwriting system so that you can help more people. It's not more confusing. It's just so you can help more people. And I'm going to show you how simple it is. When you start out there in the industry, if you're new to this extended care market, the first thing you're going to see is there's a couple different types of plans out there, like I just showed you on the website. First, there's the limited plans that are home health care only. Okay, they don't have any facility coverage. And because of the way they structure these plans, they only ask a very few underwriting questions. So the best thing about these plans is they're super available. Everybody can get them just about, because they may only ask, are you receiving care right now? Do you need help with activities of daily living like bathing or dressing right now? Are you living in a facility? Things like that. Two or three questions, and you can find out if you can get a policy right off the bat. Obviously, there's much less risk to the carrier, so those plans are limited more on their benefit side. Now, what we have besides that are the full-blown comprehensive short-term care plans. And these are like OmniFlex we're talking about today, and Wellaby's essential care product. And you have the GTL product out there as well that we have in our portfolio for Integrity, okay? These have much larger benefits because they have facility benefits and home health care benefits, one a rider and one a base plan. And then they have more comprehensive and larger benefits available, okay? So you're going to see there, obviously, it makes sense. There's a little bit more risk to the carrier, so they want to be careful. And some of these have inflation protection in them as well, okay? So if you look at OmniFlex, we wanted to get the best of both worlds. And this is one of the things that we were the first plan to come out with, the two-tiered underwriting. And basically, we wanted to say we wanted similar underwriting to the home health care only plans. It's not going to be quite as easy because this has facility benefits in it, but we do have it, so the net is thrown very wide, and I'll show you an example of that in just a couple minutes. But at the end of the day, you can see there, facility and home health care benefits are both included up to $100 daily max, still a strong $3,000 a month benefit, and there's no inflation available to protect the carrier, okay? But when you see that we can throw the net wider, this is a nice trade-off, and it's nice to have something to offer those folks instead of just home health care only plans. So then you can sell them a combination of a home health care only plan plus OmniFlex limited plan maybe, or something like that. So there's lots of different things you can do with that. On the flip side, most of our plans we sell for OmniFlex are here. And you're going to see, because of the way we set this policy up, we throw the net wider than most of the other comprehensive short-term care plans out there. So you're going to see there's less knockout questions than the other comprehensive short-term care plans. And if you get through the tier 2 underwriting, you get full benefits with this plan. So $400 facility benefits or $300 home care per day. So that's, remember, do the math on that, $12,000 or $9,000 respectively per month if they use the policy every single day. These are indemnity benefits. So even if their costs are actually less on any given day of claim, they get the full ticket, right? So if they have a home health care aid come in and they only charge $100 a day for the home health care aid and you're on claim, and if you're up to $300 at that point in time at the claim, you would get the full $300 for that day. So you get to bank a little bit of it and save it for a rainy day, okay? And these also have the inflation rider, including the home health care, not just facility, with the OmniFlex plan that's available with the tier 2. So this, again, if you're brand new to this, it seems like you're drinking out of a fire hose a little bit, but I want to make sure you know that's why this plan works so well. And I'm going to show you our InstaPivot tool in a second that I hinted at earlier. And again, I'm not going to show you the full training on it today, so it's going to be drinking out of a fire hose again for some of you. But I want to make sure you know that's the power of what we have with this OmniFlex plan. Is here's those GTL home health care only plan, and here's an Aetna home care plan, for example. What I did is in this InstaPivot tool, I'm going to show you that I have 45 different rows of health conditions, and they're bunched together in some cases, but basically it's 45 rows that cover every single thing you could think of that are on these applications to be able to find out if you can get coverage for your client, okay? And just to show you a bird's eye view of this, because I'm not going to get deep into this tool today, the GTL and the Aetnas are very strong. 43 yeses or 35 yeses out of those 45 rows. Manhattan Life's actually 44 of the 45 rows. So super wide net that they throw. And on the flip side, down at the bottom here, these are the comprehensive short-term care plans. Now you see the other side of the story. Out of those 45 rows of different health conditions, only 8 or 10 of those respectively can get through these other comprehensive short-term care plans down here. But with OmniFlex, tier 1, that's more like a home care plan, but it has facility, 33 out of the 45 rows. So it's similar to underwriting up here. And more importantly, the tier 2, 20 yeses of those 45 rows. So you can see there that as I show you this tool, you can see that this looks really confusing here, but it's all the products that we have in our portfolio here, plus some extra ones. I have that in there for description purposes. Here's all those 45 rows of questions down on the left-hand side. And you can type in any type of health condition you might have, and it'll instantly go right to that. So if I put in here multiple sclerosis, it would go right to MS, and it would show you either a check mark or a red X saying whether a plan's available or not. So this tool, you don't have to learn to use this. I do want you to know that somebody at your marketing group will have access to this. You can certainly have access to it if you'd like, but we don't want you to feel like you have to use these extra tools that a lot of our agents love, because it may be saying, you know what, I don't want to go that far, Tom. I just want to know how often can somebody get OmniFlex, or how often can somebody get Wellaby, for example. So if you want this tool, all the medications are there. You can go into any state and find out which plans are available in that state just with a click of the button. Again, it's a little slow on these webinars, so I don't know if it'll work perfectly when I have it sitting up here for too long. There you go. It shows green for all the ones that are in Alabama, for example. If I clicked in a different state, you'd see that it switches over and it may not be available in as many states. Okay, so real quick, nice tool. A lot of agents love this, but again, you don't have to use it, but it is here if you'd like to, and it's available for you. What a lot of you will do, and again, I'm going to spend a minute on this underwriting because it's so important. A lot of you, we have a call center that writes a ton of business. They've literally written hundreds and hundreds of these policies already. And literally, they don't have a screen share and they don't use that InstaPivot tool. What they do is they look at the actual application, and obviously there's an e-app that they use to fill out the applications. But when they get to the client's interview, they say, you know what, short-term care is really something that you need to look at. They use our sales tips to get people interested and turning their heads. It only takes about 3 or 4 minutes to turn their heads. Then they say, you know, you buy these policies nowadays more with your health than you do with your checkbook. So then they go in and say, can I ask you just a couple health questions and find out if you qualify for some of our primary plans? And then if you look at this, and I won't read all this to you, so don't worry, but if you look at this actual application, these are right out of the e-app and on the paper app. You don't have to sit and fill it out with your client right here, but you can be on the phone with them and say, do you have AIDS, or have you ever had AIDS or anything like HIV? Probably not. Okay. How about, are you on early Medicare due to disability prior to age 65, or are you disabled at all? Probably not. And then it goes down into this, are you receiving assistance right now for things, activities of daily living? Are you receiving home care services right now? And then it gets into some major health conditions, right? Do you have Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's stage 4 or 5, not even Parkinson's stage 1, 2, or 3, but 4 or 5, cognitive impairment. So you can see here, these are really throwing the net wide. In the last 12 months, have you been suggested to have surgery that you're waiting on? You know, in the last 2 years, have you had cancer? Some of these cancer conditions, besides skin cancer, will be a knockout where they're going to say, you know what, we can't get you one of these plans. Maybe we can get something else. Okay. So you can see how easy that is to find out if you can qualify for some care. Then most agents go right from there, right to the e-app. But here's that second tier of underwriting I told you about. Remember I said, if you have a 2-tiered underwriting, you can get a full-blown plan or a limited plan. That's where this comes into effect, you guys. Health questions, part 2. If I answer yes to these, they're not a knockout. It just means that I can only get a limited plan instead of a full-blown plan. Make sense? So you could do that right from this application as well. Most people go over to the e-app and do it right from there. Again, these are very, very broad. Remember I showed you, we can get 20 of those health things through with OmniFlex on the full-blown plan as opposed to 8 or 10 with those other short-term care plans out there. So with this one, you can see in the last 2 years, if you had a stroke or TIA, in the last 2 years, you have diabetes with 50 units of insulin. Again, these aren't knockouts. These just say that we don't dare sell a $400 a day plan. We got to limit it to $100 a day. Okay. So I'll let you read this stuff on your own. I won't bore you with it today, But I just wanted to show you how simple it is to go through and find out if somebody qualifies for this. So if you don't want to use the full InstaPivot tool and you want to say, you know what, OmniFlex is where this is available in this state, I want to just use OmniFlex, great. If you want to just use Wellaby and it's available in that state, or GTL and it's available in that state, great. You can go in there and use their actual application and find out really quickly if somebody qualifies. So you don't have to use the InstaPivot, but it is a great tool for you to use if you choose to do that at the time of claim. Makes sense? So get off that soapbox again, and I'm just going to show you. That's the reason that we get in and talk about how the biggest abilities a lot of these plans are. You notice I don't spend as much time on here's how much daily benefits and it's $10 increments. All that stuff nowadays is done for you right on the e-app basically, and it fills it out and shows you how easy it is to design a plan. What I want you to do is understand the behind the scenes method of the madness on why you design certain plans certain ways for different clients. Okay. And we talk a lot about that in the sales side of it as well. But today, with the base benefits of OmniFlex, again, with the facility side, it's a base plan as facility with this policy. Same with GTL. With the Wellaby plan, it's a base plan of a home healthcare plan that you add a facility rider. So with this one, it's a facility base, which was more common. And if you qualify for the full plan, you can go up to $400 per day. If you get the limited plan, where does it stop? $100 per day, right? We already talked about that. Elimination periods, most of the time with these plans, we do have the 0, 20, 60, or 90 days available in almost all the states. But most of the time with short-term care plan, because of the way this triggers of these policies work, most of the time we sell 20 days for a facility or 0 days. I'm not saying you can't sell the other, but if I was giving you a recommendation today, I would say stick with the 0 or 20 because you want these policies to pay off right away if we're in a care situation. You don't want your client regretting that 90 days later, okay? These are the days you'd receive care where the policy didn't pay until you've satisfied those days. All right, benefit periods, 90, 180, 270, 360. Remember I showed you before, as I was doing my introduction, I can design literally a plan for Manhattan Life's OmniFlex that would pay after restoration. It could pay literally over $1 million potentially. Most of the time, obviously, it'd be in one claim up to 500,000, but still super powerful plans, very, very strong. But that's with the 360-day care, and it's the one we sell most of. I'm not going to kid you. Most of the time, we sell 360 days on the facility with 360 days on home care. But we do have some cheat sheets, and we're having some different charts put together for you folks. So if you're selling Medicare and you want to just be able to quickly glance down and see how much can I get this person for $100 a month or for $50 a month, you're going to see that we're going to design some of these smaller plans for you and have some options right at your fingertips. So you're going to be able to know that, hey, it's not a full year plan, but we can get you for 6 months and it's still going to be super, super affordable for you. So it's not going to be a huge drain on your checkbook. And again, you'll be pleasantly surprised at how inexpensive these policies are overall, even for the more robust plans. Okay. Lifetime maximum, that means the restoration. We'll talk about that in a second. These do have bed reservations. So if you go to a hospital, you just want to make sure your bed's waiting for you when you get back. And here's the big differences with this plan. And you're going to see right in the brochure. And when you do illustrations for clients, you're going to see it's going to look a lot like this. This is right out of the brochure, right? And it's going to remind your clients how strong this prescription drug benefit is. Remember, at age 65 in America today, the average person uses 27.6 or 27.3. I can't remember which it is for sure, but that many prescriptions or refills in a given year. So that's an average, obviously, but some of your clients are going to have a shoebox full of meds, and they're going to see this as a huge plus for them because basically, right when you get out of the gate and get this policy effective, any prescriptions that they have either newly prescribed or refills for the next year and every year thereafter, they can get $10 reimbursed regardless of what they paid out of pocket, even if it was $0, $10 for generic or $25 for brand names, and they're going to get $300 policy maximum per year back, and they don't have to be on claim. It starts right out of the gates once the policy is in effect. So this is something that we have a lot of our clients that we really stress to our agents. Remind your clients of that. There is some breakage where clients forget to do it. So remind your clients, show them how easy it is to get this reimbursement. And really that becomes almost $300 in most cases right back off the net premium, right? If I'm spending $1,000 a year for premium and 300 of it comes back to me, it's kind of like $700 premium. So it's a really nice benefit built into all these plans. Fast 50. This is one of the things we're so proud of. When we designed the Mutual of Omaha plan, we had our cash benefit built into that plan as well. And 70% of the people who went on claim with Mutual of Omaha long-term care started out on cash. Okay, they saw the power of having the flexibility of paying family members and friends. Most of the time, those are total knockouts in these policies that say we won't pay benefits on a daily benefit basis to family members, spouses, or friends. With this benefit, whatever your benefit is at any given time, when you go on claim, you could get first day coverage that would pay 50% of whatever benefit amount you'd built up to at that point. This works facility, it's listed as part of the policy. Most of the time it won't happen in a facility, but it's part of the home care as well. So if you have a home care benefit, you would have been at home getting home health care aids, but you say, you know what, my spouse is going to take care of me instead, no problem. They're going to pay you a cash benefit. Again, it's 50% of whatever your daily benefit is, and it does use up a day of care, but you'll be surprised how many people will take advantage of that. And it really helps at sales times for that number one objection where people say, I don't want to spend money on a policy because my family will take care of me or my wife will take care of me. This is one of those situations where you can say, no problem. We hope that's the case. We hope you never use your plan. But if you do, we have a Fast 50 benefit built in so you can have family members and friends paid. Okay, that's a really nice, unique benefit. GTL does have a one-time $3,500 benefit that you have access to that you'll learn in that training, but this is very unique in these plans, so it's a nice extra thing. Restoration of benefits, I could beat you to death with it. It's really, really, really common with these short-term care plans. With long-term care, if you remember, you used to sell that, it isn't as common, but with short-term care, remember, you use these policies for things that say, hey, as long as you need help with 2 of 6 activities of daily living, like bathing or dressing, you just get a hip replacement or a knee replacement or a fracture or a car accident that's minor or a surgery, and you go home and say, you know what, I can't dress myself, I can't bathe myself. A lot of these plans, most of the time we sell first day coverage at home. So you're going to have the ability to go on claim right away with these policies. Are you going to stay on claim for a full year? Probably not. But you know what? It'll restore after 180 days where you don't need any care. It'll restore right back up to what your maximum daily benefit is. So you'll go back up to that 360 days. It'll do that over and over again on the home health care or the facility side. Think of people who go into a nursing home to have care where they have to have their knee worked on or physical therapy or occupational therapy for a couple of weeks after a big accident or illness. Those are the type of things that can be covered with these short-term care plans. So yes, restoration will be used, and yes, it's important, and yes, it's nice to have restoration that covers home care and facility multiple times, up to 2 times the benefit period you chose. Okay, again, climbing off my soapbox, but I want to make sure you understand as an agent the power of some of these policy benefits. The next one is the home healthcare rider. And again, this is their deck that they use at Manhattan Life. I don't really like when they list it out because it makes it look like it's kind of exhaustive. This is just giving you an example of all the different types of things you can use these policies for. So we want to make sure you know, we worked really hard with Manhattan to make sure this home care covered basically anything you could probably need at the time of claim. So if you go on claim, it's going to cover all the way from chemotherapy and physical therapy, et cetera, to non-medical home care services and things like visiting angels, et cetera. So all these different things can be covered with your home healthcare rider. Remember, it's an indemnity rider. Some of these things are very expensive down here. If you look at this slide, this is right out of the brochure. But remember, it's an indemnity rider. So if I had a home health aide come in for 2 hours and it only cost me $110 for that day that they were in, if I had built up to $300 per day, for example, for home care, it pays the full $300 regardless of what the actual care costs for that day, as long as somebody came in. So very strong benefits, very simple to understand with the indemnity benefits. Again, cash benefit, very common with this. It'll pay half of whatever your actual benefits built up to, and it'll pay that for a family member or friends if it's part of your plan of care and it works out. Okay, so great stuff there. Elimination periods, again, 0, 20, 60, or 90. We don't sell many 90s. Every once in a while, somebody might do it to have a really scaled down plan. Most of the time with home care, it's going to be 0. I really would suggest that you start at 0 because you want people to have coverage right out of the gates when they need it for home care. Okay. Benefit period, same deal. We sell a lot of 360s because we build these plans up to be pretty robust, but some of you will sell 90, 180, 270, depending on the affordability for your client. Again, restoration's in full effect, and it'll pay, or excuse me, it'll restore up until you hit 2 times whatever benefit period you sold. At that point, it stops. Okay, so I'm just on a roll here. I'm going to keep rolling. I know Dennis would have jumped in by now. I don't see him as a panelist, so we're going to miss out on Dennis today, and you're stuck with me as I finish up here. But the simple inflation rider is something that, remember I said, if you get the limited plan, you can't get inflation, but if you get the full-blown plan, you can have inflation built in, not built in, but available as a rider. So here's how this plan works overall. And this is in the brochure, and it's in the illustrations. And I'm not going to lie to you, Manhattan, of all the carriers we've had, they're really kind of putting this in there where it doesn't pop out quite even as much as I'd like it to, because the way this policy can do so many things so well is the way that we designed the plan. And we designed this plan to have a 5-year ramp up. So let me explain that to you, and don't get negative on me. Don't fall asleep and don't cover your ears, because I want to show you, this is not a secret. This is a secret sauce that makes this plan work overall. And here's why. If I were to sell you, this example uses $200 per day, but let's say I sold you $400 per day, then it would just work at halves. But let's use the 200 to make it simple. If I sold you a $200 day plan today, when it got issued, which would probably be really quickly, just takes a couple days or a day, right? When it gets issued, if you went on claim the very next day after it was issued or after it was effective, it would pay at 50% of whatever I sold you. Okay. So it'd pay, this is on home care or on the facility. Whatever your benefits are, it's 50%. It goes up in equal increments, 20% more per year until it gets up in the 5th year and the 5th policy anniversary, it hits that 100%. Okay. Is that a negative? No, my gosh, I can't believe it. This sucks. No, I don't want you to feel that way. I want you to realize that's why this plan can throw the net so much wider. And what we've done is we educated our friends at Manhattan, and we said, this is going to get rid of adverse selection. This is going to have people who say, boy, we waited too long. Now mom and dad are right at the point where they're going to need a claim any day now. Thank God you're underwriting. We found a loophole and we can jump in on this plan. What we did is we wanted folks like that to say, go ahead and buy a different policy. Go ahead and buy one from another carrier, because we want to protect Manhattan Life for the long run. And we want to have folks like you look at your clients and say, as long as you don't go and claim in the first year or two, this policy outperforms everything else in the market a lot of the time, if not all of the time. Okay, so it doesn't even have to get all the way to the 5th year. It's priced so affordably, and it has so many different benefits, like the cash benefit, the prescription drug that'll take money off your premium. It does so many things because of this ramp up that we can't suggest enough to tell people, don't feel bad about the ramp up. Even if people go on claim early on, you're going to see this policy is going to protect them really well. And certainly anytime after 3 or 4 years, OmniFlex is going to be a standout compared to some of the competition out there. So remember that as you go through. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't hide it. Don't have your clients bum out when they get their policy and they see that it started at 50% and you didn't tell them. So make sure you explain it to them that don't worry, it's going to start at 50%, but it'll ramp up, and then you're going to have a power pack plan. Okay, so let's get into inflation. If I had tier 1, I can't get inflation, so it would level off after 5 years and stay level forever. If I sold the inflation protection, it's 5% simple inflation, 2 times max. So it's going to go up over 20 years until it doubles. So in the 25th year there, it will double from 200 up to 400 in this example. Easy stuff. So again, you don't have to go into big detail on it. I went into more detail today with you as an agent, but I want to make sure you tell people, don't kid yourself. If you look at this plan, when you put it side by side with anything else out there, it's very, very competitive. And I'm just going to finish by showing this, and then I'll go back to the site and finish up showing you some of the tools we have available for you. But if you look at this policy, this is Aetna. Aetna is one of the big players in the industry. I'm not bashing Aetna. We sell a ton of Aetna. I'm just showing you side by side that the key with OmniFlex is to educate your clients that this is a great policy. You got to have short-term care for sure. You got to have something in place. This plan is very, very competitive and does a great job for you. And remember, when I sell you the plan today, it's about the benefits you're going to have at claim time. That's what's important with OmniFlex, because watch what I can do with OmniFlex. If I sell a $200 a day facility plan, just like you just saw, for a full year with a 20-day elimination, and then I sold the top home care available, $300 per day for a year for OmniFlex, Aetna works a little bit different. If you get care 3 days a week, it'll pay $1,200 a week. So that averages out to about $171 a day for 52 weeks. Okay. So don't worry about that part of it. I did throw the spousal rate in here. I cheated a little bit because we have a 10% discount with OmniFlex, and Aetna doesn't have that. But just look at the premiums coming out of the gate. If I sold this to a 61-year-old, for example, I'm at 24% less premium right out of the gate. And if I have the $300 reimbursement that Aetna doesn't have, now I'm at just about half the premium, 46% less premium. So needless to say, that's a no-brainer. And even without the spousal 10%, those numbers are like 16% and 38% or something like that. So it's really competitive even if you're single, but I did throw the spousal in this one. But even there, you can see I saved a lot of premium dollars, and I've got cash available for $75 per day for the spouse to take care of me up to $27,000. But remember, how does OmniFlex work? It ramps up, right? So even though I sold them $200 a day facility, it only starts at $100. Same thing with my $300 per day home care. It starts at $150. So you can see over here at Aetna, the green is pretty strong. If they go on claim the first year out of the gate, I saved them some premium dollars, but they might be better off with Aetna if they go on claim right away out of the gate. But watch what happens if they wait 3 years. They'll say, you know what? Most of you aren't going to go on claim in the first year. Most of you aren't going to go on claim for 5 or 6 or 8 years. But if I sold a 61-year-old a policy and they waited 3 years, so they paid in 4 years of premium, you can see here we still saved them up to 46% premium, right? Still saved them a ton of money. But now look where that green shifted. My facility hasn't quite totally matured. It's not 5 years yet, so it hasn't matured up to $200. But at $160, Aetna still beats it on the facility side by a little bit, right? $160 to $200, $72,000 to $57,000. So there it wins. But look at the home care. I'm at $86,000 pool of money compared to $62,000, $240 a day compared to $171, and I have $120 a day for cash up to $43,000. So really competitive. I would say if I was selling to my mom or a loved one, if you're going to go on claim in the first year, I maybe would look at Aetna. But if you're going to go on claim in third year, which I expect will be after that, I would go with this OmniFlex plan. Look at the 5th year and on. Now it becomes almost a no-brainer, right? I'm saving you 46% premium potentially, or 24%, and I've got a 73% bigger home healthcare pool of money, and my facility is identical. So all we have is premium savings and bigger benefits for home care where we want to be. Which policy do you think you'd recommend? That's the power of OmniFlex, is getting over that one step, just to explain to people, saying it's not a big deal, but it does ramp up. If you go on claim, it still pays a pretty strong 50% benefit. So it's still not nothing, but we're banking on the fact that you're probably not going to use it your first year or two. And if you use it after that, then it's a no-brainer, and this policy is very strong. So again, I can't stress enough on that one. I know that, again, drinking out of a fire hose for some of you, if you're looking at all that, but the big key is we don't throw you out of the airplane and hope that you have a parachute packed. We have all the tools you need. If I clicked into sales and marketing, I know I'm getting close to my time here, so I won't go into it today. You can go in there and see all the different things you have as far as recorded sessions, everything you'd need to know about these products. We have recorded sessions in here, fastbacks that you can go in and find out product highlights in the fastback video library for OmniFlex. Anything you'd ever want to know, plus on OmniFlex, you can find out and go in here and find out how it packs a punch. Cash first is strong. The cash benefit here, 2-tiered underwriting, restoration of benefits. all the different things that show you just how strong this plan is are right at your fingertips on this short-term care site. So not only for OmniFlex, but for all the different carriers out there. And again, I could click on here and bore you to tears showing it all to you, but you know where it's at. IntegrityShortTermCare.com, IntegritySTC.com, and you can see all these different things for each carrier and for your sales information as well. So I babbled at you enough where Dennis didn't get to reel me in, so I went right up to my 45 minutes plus. But I will tell you the next step is up to you guys. Remember how important this is. Remember how you're going to keep your persistency going. Remember how you're going to have the ability to go out there and not only just be a Medicare agent, which is great, you're doing a great service, don't get me wrong, but you're not just selling one product, you're selling multiple lines. So you become a trusted advocate over and above Medicare or life or whatever you're selling. This is such an easy concept. Jump on one of our other webinars from your marketer. If you haven't got them yet, call your marketer who got you on this phone or on this webinar. Tell them, I want to get appointed with all these carriers. Tell them that I want to find out when the next training is, because I want to hear Dennis show me, and Dennis and Tom show me how to go out and sell this product and how easy it is to start the conversation, answer objections, and design plans. So again, thank you so much for letting me yap at you straight here. I know it's tough with one person spitting at you for 45 minutes, but remember this is Tom Randall, and I really appreciate the opportunity to help you out. And we're really looking forward to having you have as much success as possible. These policies obviously pay great premiums, overrides, et cetera. So you're going to end up having some great opportunities to make money while you help people. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Hope to see you soon on another webinar. Have a great day.
The next step is yours. Contact your marketer for more information and to start offering short-term care solutions to your clients. And be sure to sign up for our other short-term care hot topic webinars.